Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Just a quick little special Christmas Day edition, 10, maybe 15-minute episode of talking about your Green Bay Packers clinching a playoff spot. If you guys are not aware yet, the Minnesota Vikings just upset the Detroit Lions. The Lions were 7.5-point favorites on some books, and the Minnesota Vikings come out, took care of business, and now your Green Bay Packers are officially in the playoffs. We're going to break it down real quick. Like I said, rapid fashion. I can't believe there's this many football degenerates in here watching live on a surprise stream on Christmas night. You bad family members. As I've got family downstairs waiting for me to finish this pod so we can go down and tell them goodbye as well. So I'm right there in the same good company. But before we get into it, if you would, do that YouTube stuff, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening, your Christmas evening here. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified anytime we do go live, whether it's Christmas, Easter, it's not going to happen on Valentine's Day, man. I'm not that risky with my wife. I'm just telling you right now. And we know how that would go, right? Everybody knows how that would go. Let's jump into it. Let's hit the box score here for just a second, and then we'll talk about the playoff implications and everything on the line here. As you can see, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Detroit Lions 23-10. I think the Lions turned the ball over 6 times. I'm pretty sure the turnover differential ended up being 6-0. Let's see what we got here. So 2 interceptions, right, that the Vikings got off of Goff, and then fumbles as we look here. Where's the fumble stat at? So we get the 2 interceptions, yes, and then we've got 5. Am I seeing that right? 5? No, 4. Okay, there it is, 4 fumbles. Yeah, so 5 recoveries. However, 4 came from the Detroit Lions side. So they turned the ball over 6 times, and to the best of my knowledge, they won the turnover differential 6-0, I believe. So just an absolutely embarrassing performance for the Detroit Lions. Imagine that tough, bite your kneecap, gnaw on the ankle, all the cheesy cliches that Dan Campbell has built around this team, and they're just going to take the North. They're not going to give it back. They're going to dominate. This ain't the same old Lions. This is a brand new Lions. And you come out here with an opportunity to get into the playoffs, right? You're still – if you win out, you make the playoffs, and you go out and lay an absolute egg in front of the entire nation on Christmas Day, 23-10 to the Minnesota Vikings. You just love to see that. Again, when you look at the stats, too, this is what's absolutely wild. Look at Max Brosmer's stats. 9 of 16 for 51 yards passing, guys. The Vikings just beat your Detroit Lions by throwing the ball for 51 yards. And here's what's crazy. Look at the sacks. 7 sacks for 48 yards loss. Am I seeing this right, guys? That their net passing yards was 3 yards? Is this right? Absolutely wild to think that the Lions couldn't put enough together, just couldn't even hold on to the football to come out. And again, all those Lions fans that were running that mouth all year long, all off season, one in particular, if you follow me on Twitter, you see I'm roasting him on a daily basis. We got his video ready to go every day. We could just tweet that sucker out there where he said, "I'm sorry, your team sucks now," right? Well, Lions fans, I'm sorry, your team sucks now, okay? I don't want to hear about the injuries because the Packers have dealt with it too. Everybody's dealing with injuries. For Lord's sake, Max Brosmer was the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, and they got the job done. So let's go to the super chat real quick. Ryan Santos with the super, appreciate you. Merry Christmas, brother. We going to the dance. Thank you so much, Ryan. Merry Christmas to you and yours, buddy. And yes, sir, we are in the dance. So listen, we're not done yet, right? We're not done. Now we got to make the tough decision. What are you going to do with the injuries, right? Who are you going to sit? Who are you going to play? Do you want to heal up and just go in as the number 7 seed into the playoffs? Or is it something that, hey, you know what? Let's throw all the chips on the table and go out there and try to beat these next 2 teams and hope the Bears lay 2 eggs. If that's the case, then you could potentially end up the NFC North champions. You guys know I've made my opinion pretty known on this particular program. that I kind of feel like, look, the bigger goal is what Ryan's saying here. We go into the dance, right? That's the main thing. Get in the playoffs, try to get as healthy as you can, create some momentum going into the playoffs. So the last thing you want to do is go out there and intentionally lay an egg because you're sitting a bunch of starters. Nobody's saying don't sit starters. I'm simply saying let's be really, really accurate in these evaluations of the players that are banged up. And we'll get you all the new injury report updates tomorrow. Obviously, everybody's got family in town and all that good stuff. So we'll get you all that info tomorrow and kind of reset everything after the holidays here. But yeah, we go into the dance. But here's what's cool. All right, let's just go ahead and look at it. Here are the standings, and everything is official now. It looks like just a second ago it wasn't. So you can see now your Green Bay Packers now have the X next to their name, which means they have clinched a playoff spot. Okay, so when you look at the NFC right now, and this is the conference standings, the number 1 seed is currently the Seattle Seahawks at 12-3. The 2 seed is the Chicago Bears at 11-4. Your Eagles are 10-5. They're the 3 seed. The Carolina Panthers, although they have not clinched a playoff spot yet, are 8-7, and that's because Tampa's still holding on there at 7-8. So there's still a chance Tampa could take that division, right? The San Francisco 49ers have clinched a spot at 11-4. The Rams have clinched a spot at 11-4. It's wild to think that the Rams are the number 6 seed right now at 11-4. It's just crazy. And then your Green Bay Packers are the 7 seed as it sits right now. The Vikings have officially been eliminated. The Lions, everybody below this other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been eliminated. So that has been pulled up to date. And again, thank you so much, Ryan, for the super chat. We appreciate you, buddy. Merry Christmas to you. And now let's take a look at the playoff simulator. Actually, we got another super chat here. Ryan with another super says, I also want the North, and I want Chicago in Green Bay. I get it, man. No arguments here. Again, what's great is we got just a little teaser for tomorrow's show when we do break down the injuries. Sounds like Love's going to go. No surprise there. The one I'm worried about, Sean Ryan, your starting center right now, is battling an illness, right? And again, we'll talk about all that tomorrow. That popped up on the injury report today, I believe it was. So, you're not so much worried about him, playing hurt and further hurting himself. It's an illness. But, Josh Jacobs is off the injury report now, so you feel good about that. That's the first time he's been off the injury report in quite some time, right? Since he hurt his knee in New York, I believe, all the way back to the Giants game. So he seems to be as healthy as he's been in a while. That was a positive for me. Now it comes down to Zach Tom, Evan Williams. It sounds like Evan Williams will probably play. Zach Tom, I think they'll probably sit. But if you go out here and you win this next ball game, man, and you go into Week 18, if the Bears end up losing their ball games, you got a chance to take the North. Let's just talk about it real quick before we wrap up, because like I said, I got family downstairs. Appreciate everybody jumping in here. If y'all would, smash that like button for us. And Ryan, thank you so much for the Superman. I can't argue with you, dude. You want the North, let's go get the North, right? Nothing wrong with that, man. All right, so let me drop that down for you guys and gals. All right, so here is the playoff simulator, okay? Everything should be up to date. Let's hit refresh one more time. Now we got the Vikings winning that game. So let's just focus on what applies here with the Packers and the Bears, okay? We talked about the seeding and how it sits right now. The Bears are the number 2 seed at 11-4. Packers are the 7 seed at 9-5-1. So if the Packers take care of business against the Baltimore Ravens, right, they'll now be 10-5-1. The Bears have to go into San Francisco, guys. And the reality is we just showed you the standings. The 49ers are the 5 seed. They don't want to drop a game, right? And dip under the Rams to the 6 seed, right? So they have everything to play for. The Bears have everything to play for too, obviously, wanting to win the North. So you're going to get the best version of both these teams. And San Francisco is a tough team. And listen, I know there's a lot of Packer fans that don't like Kyle Shanahan, and I can understand that. He broke our hearts a couple times, right? Didn't like the way he handled the Aaron Rodgers thing, kind of drumming up the rumors on draft night. He really, if you guys don't know, was the problem behind the scenes. He called Green Bay about Aaron. It got portrayed in the media as if the Packers were shopping Aaron, and that's what ticked Aaron off. It was really Kyle Shanahan that provoked that whole thing. So I can understand the hate for Shanahan. But you got to give respect where respect's due, right? They've been without their number 1 receiver that was out of the building for a month. That was a weird situation, right? They lost Bosa, their best defensive player, their best edge rusher. Well, definitely their best edge rusher, maybe not their best defensive player with Fred Warner, people like that. But they've kind of patched this thing together all year long, right? And they're one of the better teams in the NFC. So let's say the 49ers take care of business, all right? So the Packers beat the Ravens and the Niners beat the Bears. And this is going back to Ryan's super chat there, right? And what he was saying, hey, I want the North, right? And we'll get to this other super chat in just a second, Caterpillar. Appreciate you, buddy. So if you go in, you beat the Ravens, the 49ers beat the Bears. Now let's fast forward to Week 18. The Bears have the Lions. Here's the problem. the Lions have nothing to really play for now, right? So are they just going to go, yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown's banged up. We're just going to sit him. We're going to sit this one, and let's just get a little bit better draft pick. We're going to try to win, don't get me wrong, but we're not going to put our best players out there and further risk injury. That could happen. But also, I could see Dan Campbell being like, you know what? Let's go out there and spoil it for the Bears. That could be a situation as well. So if the Lions beat the Bears, right, before the Packers game, they jump to the 3 seed. And if the Packers take care of business against the Vikings, right, we are now the number 2 seed. That's before the Eagles play. So again, if we win our next 2 games, Chicago loses their next 2 games, we're the NFC North champs, and we could be the 2 or the 3 seed. So the difference between the 2 and the 3 comes down to the Philadelphia Eagles, it looks like, is the team we're going to be playing against if we win our last 2 games, or the team that we're up against in terms of getting that number 2 seed. So what would that take? In week 17, this week, you've got, I think it's on Sunday they play, the Philadelphia Eagles are traveling to Buffalo, all right? Traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. That's going to be a tough game. The Bills are 11-4. Josh Allen's been taking over games here lately. They're going to be at home, probably a cold weather game. Keep your eyes, over on the Weather Channel app and see what the weather's going to be like there in Buffalo against the Eagles at 10-5. Guys, there's a realistic chance the Bills could win that game against the Eagles, right? So if they win in week 17 against the Eagles are still the 3 seed. Again, this is kind of jumping back and forth, but already having the Bears and the Packers results in the bank. Okay, let's just assume the Packers win their last 2 and the Bears lose their last 2. All right. The Eagles lose to the Bills. It's going to come down to week 18 and the Eagles and the Commanders. That's tough. So now you're going, Clayton, you're getting greedy, bub. You're getting greedy, wanting that 2 seed. Give it all to me, man. You know what I mean? So if the Commanders could go out there somehow, some way and upset the Eagles, the Packers hold on to the 2 seed. If the Eagles win that game, looky here, boys and girls. If the Eagles win that game, the Packers are still the number 2 seed. So what it comes down to, God, such great news. If the Packers win their last 2 games, okay, and the Bears lose their last 2 games, the Eagles lose to the Bills, which quite possibly could happen. It don't even matter what the Eagles do in week 18. We're the number 2 seed. That's wild to think about. And look who we would be hosting, guys. Packers hosting the Bears. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound cocky. I feel really good about the Packers beating the Bears next time they play them. It took everything going wrong in the last 5 minutes of that game for the Bears to squeak out that win. And that was us without our starting quarterback, without all these players that are, banged up. I'm excited to see that all unfold for sure. Now, one thing I want to step back to here real quick is, let's say the Bears do win out, okay? And this just kind of came to mind. Let's say the Bears win out, so they are the NFC North champs, right? And we won out. Is there a chance that we could take the 6th seed away from San Francisco? So obviously, if the Bears beat the Niners, that drops them to 11-5. And then in week 18, the Niners have the Seahawks. Guys, the Seahawks are the number 1 seed in this projection at 12-3. So if the Seahawks beat the Niners, the Packers will jump to the 6th seed, right? So now let's bounce back and look at the Rams. Where are the Rams games at? They play at the Falcons. Listen, we all know how that's probably going to go, right? But let's say the Falcons win that game, okay? And then the Rams were to lose in week 18 to the Cardinals. Doubt it'll happen, but if it did, the Packers could climb up to the 5th seed, even though Chicago would still be the NFC North champs. So just something else to kind of keep your eye on there. And again, these are all different playoff implications. And the number one thing, the Packers have clinched. They're at least going to be the number 7 seed. Just like in 2010, we keep drawing these parallels. It kind of feels like we're going to be the 7th seed. And it's just going to be another piece that fell into place that lines up perfectly with what happened to the 2010 Packers going on that Super Bowl run. Again, I want the North, like Ryan said. I want a home playoff game at Lambeau with the snow flying. Jordan Love's been great in cold weather. I want that, right? But it's awesome to know the Packers have stamped their spot. Let's go to the Super Chats. We'll get out here for my wife. Absolutely kills me. Caterpillar says, Merry Christmas, y'all. Clayton, thank your Viking fan nephew for the Packer playoff Christmas gift. LOL. I think we play our guys tentatively this week and see if Chicago wins or loses, then make a decision next week. That's a very middle of the road, middle ground comment there. And I think that probably makes more sense than my opinion of, hey, play it really, really cautious. And maybe someone like Ryan who's going, man, throw the chips on the table, right? You're probably spot on there, Caterpillar. And I love the fact that he gave the Super Chat 23-10, obviously the score of the Vikings. And By the way, shout out to Sammy. We watched that game together downstairs. It was so fun. One of the rare moments that me and my nephew can root for the Vikings. Only time that'll happen is when it's to help the Packers. It was just such a fun game to watch, especially watching the Detroit Lions just pee straight down their leg. It was absolutely awesome. So thank you for the super, Caterpillar. Appreciate you, Mike, with the super. God bless you all. Merry Christmas. And to you, Clayton, blessings for the best content in the biz. We in. Anything is possible. Love it, man. Get the flex emoji. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. And Merry Christmas to you. And thanks to everybody who supported the channel. We got a ton of people in here right now. We got almost 900 people watching live between Twitter and YouTube. Greatly appreciate y'all jumping in here and celebrating with us, man. It's a lot of fun. And then Badger Trio with the super chat. People telling it's only playoffs. Don't get excited. I will. It's not easy to get in, year out. Many teams would wish they could. A freaking men, Badger Trio. There's always going to be fans within the Packer fan base, a very, very loud, minute amount of the Packer fan base that'll act like this is just, oh my God, how embarrassing with a 7 seed. Bro, you got the youngest roster in the league, first of all. You know how hard it is to make the playoffs with the youngest roster in the league? On top of that, look at the freaking injuries. And you know what? This feels like 2010 when everybody wrote the Packers off. Listen, I didn't say they didn't have a chance, but there was about 3/4 of the way through the season. I went, man, this just ain't going to be the year, you know? Got a good young team. Come back next year, get healthy, try to stay healthy, and go on a run. And next thing you know, what'd they do? 4 games left in the season. They lost 2 in a row, right? One of which, Aaron Rodgers got a concussion, just like Jordan Love got a concussion on those 2 losses in a row. They end up winning the last 2 games of the season, and then they never lost a game the rest of the season, went on the road as a 7 seed, beat Philly, went on the road and beat Atlanta, boat raced Atlanta in Atlanta. And then you went to Chicago in the Windy City and B.J. Raji with the pick 6, right? Put the big belt on, you know, the famous line there from Joe Buck. And obviously you had all the plays in between in that game. It was just, oh, what a fun game to watch. To me, man, it means more when the chips are stacked against you. But I'm spot on. I'm with you there, Badger Trio. You were spot on, dude. It is saying something. That this team, the youngest roster in the league, even with all the injuries, you clinched a playoff spot with 2 weeks to go, guys. 2 weeks to go. And again, if we clear all this off, well, I ain't got it on the screen anymore. Clear it off. We're sitting at 9-5-1 right now. At the first of the season, when we do our picks and we go through and kind of project the schedule and everything, right? I always say, all right, I give you a low number and I give you a high number. And I say, I see us finishing somewhere in this range. And I always say, barring any catastrophic injuries, that typically means your starting quarterback out for the season in week 3, right? Something like that. Well, other than your starting quarterback going out, don't you think we've dealt with some pretty catastrophic injuries this season? You still got a shot to hit that 11. I said 11 to 13 wins. Last year, I said I can see 10 to 12 wins. This year, I said 11 to 13. You're at 10-5-1. You might not get to 11. I think you'll definitely get to 10. It's a chance you still get to 11, even with that tie, obviously, counting as a half game. But it's exciting, man. So I'm with you, Badger Tree. I think that's the energy we need. We need to get behind this team. We need to be supportive. These players and coaches don't need to be logging on to Twitter, seeing fans rake them over the call. Oh, I can't believe we're going to be the 7 seed or whatever it is. We're doing victory laps and we haven't even won the division. Boys, at the end of the day, if people say that, the way I approach it is I say, okay, which would you rather have? Would you rather win the NFC North or would you rather win the Super Bowl? If your answer is the NFC North, I'm sorry. We can't be friends anymore, right? So again, you can't downplay the fact that the Packers are in the freaking dance with all the adversity they faced this year. You can't downplay that if you think the Super Bowl is the ultimate goal. This is huge. It's absolutely huge. 2 weeks to go in the season with everything that we've endured. Tucker Kraft going down, playing without Christian Watson for a good chunk of the year. I mean, Josh Jacobs being banged up. You lose your starting center. All the way across the board, look at all the injuries that this team has faced. And then you look up. Hell, you lost Jaden Reed from week 2 to whenever it was. We just got him back a few weeks ago. Yeah, I'm proud of this team, proud of the organization, proud of the coaches, proud of the players. Let's just make sure that us positive fans are louder than the negative ones that embarrass the hell out of this fan base on Twitter. right? Make sure you're the loudest, not arguing, but just make sure the team knows how much we appreciate them, because I think this is awesome. It just kind of feels like something special is happening in Green Bay. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm excited about it. And again, thanks everybody to the super chats. I got to run. Sorry it's such a short show. I know we got a bunch of people in here. If you guys are new here, hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live. Like tomorrow, we'll probably be doing multiple streams throughout the day, just to get in here and kind of talk about the playoff picture, set the stage for the weekend. We'll do a preview, Packers, Ravens, kind of give you their strengths, their weaknesses, our strengths, their weaknesses. How do they match up? And we'll talk about all the updates on the injury report as well. But I greatly appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you all for jumping in here. Merry Christmas. It's so cool. We can have 1,000 people jump on here on a random live stream to celebrate together. You guys and gals are awesome. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all spend time with family. Thanks for the supers. Thank you, Bates. Merry Christmas, buddy. And we'll see everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow, man. Look for multiple streams. So again, my name's Clayton. This is PTA. Merry Christmas. Packers are in the dance, baby. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.